Oh, hello everybody. Happy Monday to you all. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hello, MS. How are you today? I was unfortunately extremely busy on Saturday, and so I didn't get a chance to pop in to either of your streams. And I felt like my Saturday was a little less fulfilling because of that. Everybody needs a good bit of MS in their life, right? At least I think so. We have different holidays everywhere. When I was in Germany, we had different holidays all the time, and of course we celebrated all of them because my daughter was in German school. Hello, Nixumia. And speaking of, since I got some people here, hey MS, I have something for you. This is supposed to play when you come in.
Hello, everybody. You all right?
If you guys aren't already following, it helps if I put the exclamation. I've done this before, can you tell? Not sure. And this thing. Always not cooperating. Supposed to have a game in the background. Right there behind me. Give you guys a hint. There it is. So you guys can see what we're going to play. Even then it didn't work. What is happening? Let's try this one more time. I think my bot is broken. Hold on. When all else fails, restart the bot. That's funny you say that because I was in 2D Carrie's stream earlier and she used the term bonk. Somebody got bonked by the bot. I like that, getting bonked by the bot. So in this case, we're going to bonk the bot. Yeah, whatever. So, how's everybody's weekend? I had mixed feelings about this weekend because, well, I always have mixed feelings about the weekend because it disrupts my routine. And then when you add an extra day off, it disrupts it even more. And so I end up kind of all over the place. All right. The bot's broken. Like it's not connecting. It says it's connected, but it doesn't show anybody in chat or anything. He thinks something is wrong with it. Well, anyways, if all else fails, just do this the old-fashioned way. So if you aren't already, give him as a follow. There's his link. Go there. Hi, Jacksonator. How are you? Is that you flexing? You know, that your arms and flexing. Wow, everything is just weird today. You know, I would love it if, you know, when you turn things off at the end of one day and you come back the next day, things just stayed the way they were. But so like right now, I have 2 buttons on my screen. You can see right there. And it happily changed my scene for me, even though I didn't want it to change my scene, because I want to be on the talk scene. But yeah, here I have buttons on my streampuppy app, and on the bottom, in the middle, and on the bottom, on the left and right, I have mic button, and the one on that one right there, that one is supposed to turn the mic off, and that one is supposed to just mute it. So if I tap and hold that one, you can hear me. If I let go of it, you can hear me. Well, the other one, yeah, now it works. Now that I'm sitting here showing it off, I'm supposed to just turn the mic off. So many things going on in the background, I can't seem to get any of it. Okay. There's Skylines. What happened to the audio? So, anyway, I'm going to play. And notice it changed. I give up at this point. Every time I think I've fixed the hotkeys for slobs, I'll go and tap something and then, hey, Niximia. I enjoy you being here. Thanks. So, now I'm going to try to move the mic. Just for me, it just doesn't seem like it's sitting right, and it still doesn't. But I'm just gonna go. So yeah, I've been wanting to play some cities for a while. I have watched a lot of time playing this. I haven't played it a lot myself, so I consider myself fairly new at it. And right now, I'm just building roads. Having fun building roads. So when I got here, there was. See if I can zoom that. There. So when I got here, this, how did this go? So this highway came down here and went over here. And then this highway was right here, I think? No, it was like this. So I had that. And I think this highway was going over here. I forget at this point. Your new addiction. Yeah. So then I wanted this connected over here. So I added this. Connect to that. And then, yeah, this one was going over. Yeah, I forget how it was right now. But so I know I added this connection right here. And tweaked this one heading over here. And then I added this connection right here. And I tweaked the way these were arranged. So I think I may have added that one. Because I wanted to get some more traffic. I wanted to get the high-speed traffic done before anything else. I don't know what's going on with the edit. Like it's completely hosed. So anyway, Pixel Sharks, thanks for that host. So the last time I'd been playing on my own, I just put in this right here, this fun little thing, and I'd been screwing around with the lane, and I'd also been messing around with my highway here. I was trying to improve the traffic flow off of this. So one of the things I just did right before stream, because I just wanted to make sure everything was working, because the patch one came out last week and things weren't working. So I logged in just to play for a bit, just to see if some things were working. And so I moved this and made this a 2-laner so that we could have people not bottled up right here heading to these. And then this one, these right here, I had to turn into turn rights because they were trying to go straight across. Now, why would you do that when you could go that way? Made no sense. So I'm doing some road management. I'm just building. That's pretty much all I'm doing. I'm just building. I'm having a good time building. Anyone's wondering, I'm not worrying about money or anything like that, or having a successful city and this to run eventually. I just playing for the fun of it. So there we go. So if you see me struggling with something and you know what to do, let me know. And that, there we go. This one will go here, here. That way every turn that lane will go right. There. Don't want people going straight. Long game. Don't want them going to that one. Okay. There. And these guys will go here. There. That works. That works. Here. Move this road. The answer is somehow. It really depends on the day, honestly, when you ask. The overall, I've been okay. But I need to move this a little farther, I think. Bro, that's what I'm. So overall, I've been okay, but I've been experiencing more of the I don't really feel like doing things. I may need to actually disconnect this from that. Hey, L. Oh my goodness. An L. Okay, we're gonna check. We're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. We'll see if it works. Nope. Stupid bot. I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, it's the API is down, so I'm not really sure. I'll fix it later. And of course, it couldn't show that before stream. No, that would be easy. So, although you could just click on her name, I like to at least make the effort. Are you still playing all of your? Are you still playing that playthrough of Stardew Valley that I saw you playing a while back? You know, for some reason, this stupid thing is connected right here, unlike the other one where it's slightly disconnected. There, see, it's slightly disconnected. I don't want to move it. I want to upgrade it. There we go. Haha. Now give me the traffic controller. So yeah, life has been interesting here. I've been trying to remind myself to pace myself correctly when I'm working. I tend to try to do too much when I'm working. So I just having to click on things multiple times act like is really starting to annoy me. And the last one. Closer. Now let's upgrade this one. And I've been experiencing some of the worst people lately when I have been out and about. So I talked about it last week, but like last Sunday I tried to do church, class, and then the store, and great. And somebody in the store decided that my being there with my service dog was an open invitation for them to just interact with my dog the way they wanted to, ignoring all the signs that he was wearing saying, "Leave me working." So, yeah, people, they're just so much fun. That. Make sure this one in here. And then I'll seem to be doing okay, and then I will just suddenly feel down and depressed. Oh, Smiley Face is coming back. I approve. I approve. Oh. So just because I know they'll try it to make sure punks only go to this lane. Drivers are difficult. Go there to there. Ooh, nice. Are you going to be streaming that on, is it Fridays? Is that when? Because if so, Zoe and I will likely be able to watch it because we've been playing Skyward Sword on Fridays, and usually having a channel that we hang out in while we do that, either that Extra Life or we were also hanging out in Level Up Ladies stream. Your St. Jude stuff, so I forget which night you were streaming on. Cool. That was one of those nights. There's only 7 nights in the week, right? So it's got to be one of them. I figure if I just keep saying one randomly, you'll get it. Okay. I think I've got all of the traffic. This was causing people, they were slowing down to go across. I can't have that. There we go. That one seems to be working better. Traffic over here right now. Oh, let's see about over here. Seems to be okay. I really like this triangle thing when you have the space for it. I had to work a little to get that one. And this I made. See how everything looks. Okay. I might want to consider adding, for those that like to come back around. People like to do turnarounds. Adding a way for them to do that. Probably adding complexity. I think you guys figure it out before. So, yeah, and when I first started this up again, this was where I started trying to make this connection right here, and oh my word, it was so frustrating getting these ETA on the second book. Well, funny you should ask. I'm currently editing. I just got the final section back. And that's not working at all. Here, you know what? I'm going to just back CloudBot. Because if I turn the CloudBot on, most work. Back to the backup. Now. There we go. Why I put the thing there, but so I got the final act from the editor, so I can work on it. But this past week, I was actually working on a different creative project where I've been contracted to a video game, a story for a video game. So I was finishing that up. And I've got a little bit more on it to do. I pitched this last year, and they came back and asked for the expanded pitch to go to the next part, the next phase of it. So, of course, as soon as I turned it in, I immediately started thinking of ways I could make it better. So I have to make a few changes. Hey, look, young. So that'll allow people to turn. Let's see. Look, is it me or does it look like this asset's broken? Because I don't know about you, but this road looks like it's not connected to anything, and I'm not really sure how it got itself disconnected. Like all of them, there's like 3 parts here, and none of them are connected to each other. And I'm not really sure how they did that. It's that way this whole side over. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a little tweaking. These at least look like they're connected to each other. Maybe. So I'm working on it, and I have a little bit more. I think I'll be able to wrap up the stuff on this video game project tomorrow morning, and then I'm immediately rolling into a massive push to get it all edited. I'm setting a personal goal of trying to get it done by the end of next week, and then I can get it to the publisher, and then it's in their hands. So, to answer your question, L, it's on the horizon, and get it done faster, because I want you guys to have it too, because I want to finish that story, and I know that people have been, itching to get their hands on it. I have to move this road back farther just to be able to. The road connected here. Such a weird asset. Like they haphazardly threw it together. It doesn't look like. See, on this side, it looks like everything's connected. It's just the other side, for some reason, is broken. So, and you'll be happy to know, L, that the sequel has been. I've written about a third of that already. The sequel will fall. So, next type of road is 3-lane something or other. I don't have an asset I'm going to have to pick up. So what I'll do is I'll do a 2-lane one way. Yep. Everything is too tightly packed in here. move this to here. See if that will let me do it. Yeah, it's like it's already occupied, so I don't know how I'm supposed to fix this. Maybe if I just maybe if I just slide this whole thing out. See if that what music are we listening to? Seems weird. Classical, radio, old, relaxation station, rock city, all that jazz, country, synthetic dawn. Are we listening to synthetic dawn? Johnny Goldie. Nope, we are not. There, I'll switch to that. Yeah, it's already occupied. So I don't know how they expect me to put this in here. I may have to just like delete this whole asset and it'd be nice if I could figure out how to do like full select. Just delete this whole asset. The problem came when I started trying to expand the number of roads going over it. So asset. That's not what I need. I don't even see it now. Where the heck did I get that from? This is it. The Diamant Cruise. Three lanes. Oh, I need to connect my highways. Maybe these are all 4 lanes. Here's the 3-laner. Is that it? Yep. Pop it. Okay, and then connect that to this one. Cool, we'll be here, Jax. Hey, but look, it's the same problem. Things are not connected. Whoever built this thing was not thinking about this. Because these roads are not connected, but they're connected on the other side. So it looks like I'm gonna have to purge this entire intersection in order to make this thing work. So, yeah, I need a 2-lane. One way. There. Okay. This one is going the wrong direction. Oh, give me my rope back. There. Cross that. And then I need a single lane. That's the highway. That's I changed all of that poop. I don't know what the control Z is. Anybody know what the control Z is? Let's look. Keyboard, key mapping. Don't want to go too far. Is there one? In game space. I think that would be. Like that. Don't need to look at that. Control Z. That does terrain modification. I don't know if that's going to do set. Like I said, told you, I haven't played this that much myself. I've watched a lot of people playing. Long. Yeah, it doesn't undo. Gotta figure out which highway that was. Everything still be connected over here. Good. Good. Right here. Just go now. So look. Going left here, yep. Right. I'm going to turn the game down. The music is so loud in my leave it. There. Well, we'll just have to make sure that my volume is good. Enjoy your lurk, MS. Thanks for being here. It's going the wrong direction. This, there we go. Okay, now I think it's working. Yay! Now Let's get in here with this thing and make sure everybody's going where we want to. I'm wondering if right here, this isn't going to cause problems if I don't. Back over here. That's the problem. 2 lanes. I can't do that. So they're just going to have to deal with it because there's not enough space here for me to, unless I move this down here. Maybe then. There. It's the part I want. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. That's not gonna work. Give me what I want, so I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so bend this out. Yeah, I actually think I may want to have this be 3 lanes instead. Because what I need to do, move this farther down so we've got more space to work with. I think I need to move this a little more distinct. Hold on. Right, this way then. You don't want to call it.
You're listening to the classics, the city's home for the hits from the 80s,
Oh, see, that's
90s and onward. 1780s and 1890s.
So
I'll be playing some lesser known
I need
tunes from those eras, so don't go away.
I don't have a 3-lane option. It's not, see, these are all together. I want them separated. A separated 3-lane. It's gonna make me do this. Okay. to do. I'm going to just back out to this. There. Okay. I don't know what's going on with the music. I'm gonna turn it off for now. It's keeps skipping. We'll turn up the game ambience. Maybe that'll be better. I mean, I can. Okay, so those turn around. You're going to go a different. You're going to make that decision before you get there. Only go here. You here and here. Go on this. This engine lane intersection bullcrap. Reason, generally speaking, take a full offense. Here. Thing. Up a bit. Okay. Oh. The way that one. That was horrible. So now there. Oh, they don't have anywhere to go just yet, but they can. Now, most of the major thoroughfares planned in. Now what? Guess I gotta just start building a downtown. Along with other exits off of this. And I also have to think about real estate. So I definitely want one inside. In here. Major interchange. To put an exit right here. With a couple of this one. This one isn't necessarily, it's currently a highway, but I'm going to turn it into because I don't necessarily like looks ugly. Yeah. And over here, I was thinking of making this like the downtown. Right here. I would decide what to happen with this one. To city. That. I think I want to move that. And of course, gotta screw around with these things because I don't want any lane changing. There will be no left turns with this thing. Right. Everybody's no lane changing in the intersection. Punk. This we will have continue on down. This. Curve. The highway and the river. turn that like. Oh no, I'm not sure. I think actually. Actually, I want to do something a little different. Have this going have curving a little like that. Cross. Cross them. So, and then over here, we'll do another one of those assets. Maybe. And if we did that, it'd have to go right here. So let's. Yeah. Press it down. Let's do. I need to do some leveling here. Go with the faithful here. Angle it a bit. Get rid of it. There. Yeah, let's save just for fun. Everything connected this time? Oh wow, look at that. But why didn't it do that over there? Who knows? Didn't like me. So highway, let's connect the highways first. That's the easy one. 3-lane highway. Okay. So we can get to the highway from there. And and then we'll make it pretty. telling me to go to the bathroom, but I don't actually have to. So. Okay. So. Actually, just move. There. And then back. And then grab that. Move this far. Gonna cause problems. There we go. Now we'll bend it like so. Bend it like so. Okay. That over like lane restrictions. People are nuts. This way too. You would think that's an opportunity for you to turn right. I don't know. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of work here because this is ugly. Why that looks like that, I don't know. Maybe they're considering a straight lane. But we're into the lane restrictions. Have to go here. Okay. And this one, same nonsense. You are not going there. Where do these go? Hiding way under there. Just barely visible. far. Too many escapes. You're gonna make a left turn there? I don't think so. Left turn ist verboten. No left turns for you. No left turns. All. I can make it all right turns. No turning. Everyone must go straight. No slowing down. Everyone must go faster. Around like this. There. Yeah, it looks right. Ugh. Ugh. This nonsense. There. There. Now we have a road to intersections off of going into the city. And this goes all the way over here too, so we can connect off of it. So I think we may up like that. We'll see. So we have this main drag. Now no. Currently doesn't seem to be too much. Traffic here seems to be a little bit. Only in that spot. Seems to cut really sharply. Now make our first branch off intersection. End up with a lot of traffic on that thing, and I just know it. Continue the loop this way. Actually, first. Nope, nope, nope. Too far. Too far. Many click. Highway. Well, I mean. Mhm. There. Missed. No wandering. No lane wandering in intersection. Pick a lane and stay. Required. So back to roads. Kind of interchange. Won't let me do this one. Oh, this is I'm forced to do another one of these. I have so many diamond intersections. I think that's what it's called. Diamant cruising. Remember when the town I used to live in before I moved to Germany, they discussed putting one of those things in. That was hilarious. People had no clue what it was. They just knew they'd never seen it before. It was some invention of the Germans, and thus it was bad. It's not what I wanted. I did not ask. Delete the road. That's not what I wanted. Now I'll delete the road. This is move the road over a little. Like that. Now let's put this asset in. Where's the slope? The slope is too steep. I have to do this way. I think this will go in there either because it's steep. Oh, that. I have to do it myself. Construction. Okay. Road. This is just a normal 2-lane highway with sound barrier. Farther back. Go underground. Already occupied. Oh, it's too close to that. Anytime I've had to move these apart. I have room to work. Stop making my life difficult. Oops, sooner, I think. Move this farther away for right now. That's not what I wanted. There. Go this direction first. Have to move this even farther back to get the desired effect. And okay. Nope. This is a 3-way. Well, I don't know, it's a 4-lane. Well, forcing them down into 2 lanes by way. Here, let's trade there. And time to spread out. And now let's do some moving. Yes. 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 There. Right. So now move these closer. mobile game if you're trying to convince me to come back to you, telling me that someone who I've total random stranger who I have no clue who is back in the game is not the way to do it. I don't have time to play Words with Friends anymore. All the friends that I have that play it religiously. I just don't have that kind of time anymore. This and that. Talking about the current hot potato, the Biddy Curie and Wojess are part of. So that highway now goes under there. Gets it out of our way. Now I can continue this road now. I don't want to build on. This road. Another interchange here. This. I think we get a little better options with these interchanges. I don't have to keep complex ones. Maybe this one. Rid of that. Mind map a little. And now road-wise, I just need that's connected there. This. Yes. That's ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Fixed up now. Ugh. So this needs. No, I need to split this up into. That's what it is currently. Change this down to. Doesn't really gain me anything. Same thing, essentially. What I need to do is do what I did before and separate it into the highway. Multi-part highway. Now, clean this puppy up. That is ugly. Ugly. The road only its mama would like. Even then I have doubts. Oh. No. Lanes. Actually, this road. Upgrade. 2-lane. Force them into each other. Please. Same rules. Change lanes in the highway. Deal. Here. Hey Nixomia. Welcome back. I appreciate those bits. Are always. What flavor of cheese bits did you provide? Because yeah, that's a thing. That, and that. What's this? What's this? No, you're making left-hand turns there. Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? I don't think so. Yep. Give these people an opportunity and they will totally make that turn. Not really sure why this is separated like this. Maybe because it's a different style of road. Who knows? Oh, it's because this is the asset. Oh, okay, I got it. I'm tracking now. Cool. So, make here. If you're in this lane, you're turning. Here you can go here. Only over here. When you're in this lane, your turn. probably have to tell them here to start thinking about changing. And tell these right here, you gotta make up your mind here or here. People can go here. Here. And back here. Funneling people in where we need them to. Oh, could you not hear me? Sorry. I was kind of muttering to myself there. Kind of. And then you go there. There. A bunch of mumbling. Well. Sorry. Didn't mean to do. As I indicated earlier, some of my settings got all screwed up because OBS and Windows. They are nice like that. Cool. But I did say thank you for those bits. Cross, cross. Cool. Now, go like this. Let me move. There. And there. So, this is still ugly. This is ugly. But that's just whoever designed this needs to go back to school. Ugly. I bet you some loser in Guthron designed this. That seems like something he would do. Well, odds are I mentioned a couple of new authors who you've never heard of. You know, there are a couple that I mentioned that are new authors and you may not have heard of. Because I was talking, is that the one where I asked everybody what they were reading? And I started talking about different books that I'd been reading. Or is that the conversation we're referring to? Like it was in Wojess's channel? Somebody. Just refreshing my memory. Is there grass sticking through my road? Come on, game. It's pavement. Didn't have grass growing through it. Yeah. Trying to think. Patrick Rothfuss? What the Name of the Wind? Was that it? You know, I think part of what the problem is I don't like the way this looks. Let's make it match that a little better. I wish it was easier to blend these in closer to. To think. Bones of the Past by Craig Monroe. Because that one has some similar feels to Game of Thrones. The way he was telling the story. I actually just finished the Audible version of that a month ago, something like that. And I'm trying to think of what it could have been. Yeah, that was a new author. He's somebody I know through my publisher. So if we were talking about the book series that are similar to Game of Thrones, one is, it has a similar, intrigue type feel to its world and its development. So, got that. Now we just need to connect this puppy. Wonder if it'll let us put a... Well, no, that's one way. That's one way. That's not what I wanted. Yes. Wait a minute. Yeah. Just a second. That's my book. Oh. Yep. It's my book. It's on Audible. I really enjoyed the Audible version. Find out more about that. There. I'll take you to the Amazon page. And I'm currently editing the sequel. It's just about done, and I've written a third of the third. And there's a fourth book, and then that series is over. See, that looks just so much better. I'm wondering if I should switch this. I think I will, actually. Did all that work, but this doesn't look nice. I think it'll look better if I just run it into it. So, oh, don't tear it. I want to build it. So now let's make it look pretty. There's a site I haven't checked in a while. Goodreads. Yeah, I think most of the negative feedback about it stems in part from the fact that it's not done. And what is this? Don't move it. I want to upgrade it. Stop it. Stop it. There. That looks better, I think. Bend this back this a little. Like so. Which I understand. People are tired of having novels go for a long time without having the sequel. But when people ask if I have the opportunity to talk to them, I tell them part of the reason why is because my life went to crap in 2016, and I'm still recovering from it. This is going to cause me. I'm not going to cause traffic issues right here. It's a ton of work. So when you add mental health issues that pop up to what happened, it's a lot more difficult. Up there. See, I like pop it clicked. I don't like this thing. I keep clicking it and it's just the stuff's not connecting to it. Well, the thing is about Stephen King is, and he uses a formula for all of his world creation, and he's been doing it for so long that people forgive him for it. But all of his stories are essentially use the same formula. Brandon Sanderson, I wouldn't say he uses the same formula. I will say that I have not enjoyed any of his work outside of Mistborn, and I only enjoyed his Wheel of Time stuff because he was finishing it. I'm not a big fan of Brandon Sanderson's work because it just doesn't. It has never clicked, and that's all it comes down to. It just has never clicked for me. I think I'm gonna leave this for now while I finish building this road, but this is gonna be, I think this is gonna cause a problem. I can just see this being a huge traffic here. Not enough of a runoff connection. Maybe if I move this farther down, so they've got more build up to it. And it doesn't mean they're not good at what they do. I just have never. I have tried to read Way of Kings 4 times, and I can never make it past the opening couple of chapters because it just bores me to death. It's always one of those. I start it, I think, oh, this has potential. This has potential, and then I get going into it, and all the potential just fizzles out. Now, that said, Mistborn, love Mistborn. The 3rd book of the Mistborn trilogy is still one of my top favorites, and if you want to talk about a book that is surprisingly theologically challenging, that book is, it has some interesting challenges theologically, when you're considering, and when you're contemplating that subject. Maybe if I give them a little longer run up, I could build some more flyovers, but I don't necessarily mind the right turn right here. I don't. Here's one thing I can't. This is one thing I can't. You can go there. Go there. Not go straight. I don't know why. I came off the highway. Clearly, we need to get back on the highway. And yeah, it is. It's a big commitment. It's a lot of. And this one will be a left turn only, or a right turn. This one will also be a right turn. Go here. We'll go here. That could. Just these left turns right here are going to cause problems. These 2 left turns and these 2 left turns, they are going to go. Can't read Stephen King. I've just never been able to connect with any of his books I've tried to read. It's the same with me too. I've enjoyed some of his stories that have been turned into other media, but I've never been a big fan. I've never been a big fan of that genre though. A good friend, author friend of mine, J.F. DeBow, I managed to get into his A God in the Shed. Thoroughly enjoyed that. For me, it's just the genre has always felt too formulaic. It relies on some of the same things, and I can't. It's very easy for me when I do read that stuff to predict what's coming. I know where this is going. It was the same with his, but I enjoyed his presentation of it. Kill Creek, another book from the same publisher. That one was interesting. I mean, it was. That's one of those ones I think I should let people read first and then talk to them about it, because the issue that I have with that is more, it's less the story. The story is okay. I don't know how much to say without giving the story away. My number one issue with most horror stories is stupid people. Just stupid people. And in a story where you have people who should know better, yet because they think they know better, they still make the same stupid mistake, even though they think they're not. And I have a hard time with stories. I don't have a lot of time in my life for stupid anyway. So reading about smart people doing stupid things in a book, it's not very entertaining for me. No, but it was one of the most critically well-reviewed books from my publisher. Yeah. And so I decided, I was going through trying to find, books from the same publisher to support, the other authors like me in that genre. I mean, not that genre, just in that, having published that way. So that's why I read it. And I read it mostly while running across backlands of Germany. Jane, I've read King's Pet Sematary and Dreamcatcher. The book was better than the film in both cases. I find that often tends to be true. I'm just bored by most of the premises. Same here with predictability, and I find Stephen King unnecessarily perverse. If you find Stephen King unnecessarily perverse, then what did you think of George R.R. Martin? Because some of the stuff that he had in his series was just borderline fetish fantasy. I would say the same thing about Robert Jordan with his ever multiple people just not just passionately in love with Rand al'Thor, but okay with sharing him with 2 other women. It's like, yeah, that's fetish. And the funniest part about that is his wife was his editor, so she was approving all of this. And the relationships that people had, the females in Wheel of Time, as much as people raved about how they were so much better than Lord of the Rings, it seemed to me more like, no, this is slightly up. Sure, there was lots of strong females, but okay, let's be realistic here. If you start with the description of the females in book 1 and go and just follow through to the end of book 14, by the time, and you're not wrong, Nixumia, by the time you get to the end of the book, each woman is both A, convinced they know how to fix the world, B, on a path to do it. None of them ever actually do it. C, and this will be the last one, are so well endowed over the previous woman that you encountered that by the time you get to the end of the book, none of them should be able to walk around because they would be so big. Because every single one you encountered was bigger than anyone ever encountered before. And it wasn't much better with the I forget what they're called now, the Guardians of the Aes Sedai. How they were always just they always just looked ready to attack in every direction. And I was just longing for someone in the story to just look completely lazy and just not paying attention. Because every single male that was a sidekick, and there were so many side characters that didn't matter. Yeah, they did. Yes, I did like Matt. Matt was the only in the entire series. He's the only one who was humble in any way, shape, or form. No one else was. There is not a humble character anywhere in that series. Not truly humble, outside of it. And even he, to a point, was not as much. But of all the characters, yep, he was the most humble. You are not wrong in that. I actually very much enjoyed his storylines. Book 9 was one of the best for me. I loved how much it dealt with book 9 and then book 11. Those two, I loved them because there was so much dealing with his story. I did like the way he played those 3 characters off together. No, that's who I'm. Sorry. Perrin is the one that was the humble character. Matt was just fun. Matt's storyline was absolutely hilarious. I won't, but duck in. That last book is so long. I actually have here. Give me just 1 second. So when we're talking about book, having lots of books. Sorry, my headphones are. So I'm just all over the place today. Sorry, I don't mean to keep bumping the microphone. So if you want to talk about books to read, I'm going to show you this one because it's fun, it's quick, and this is the guy who blurred the front of the book, and his book is actually blurred by the guy who wrote the screenwriter. He was the screenwriter of Rogue One and Book of Eli. So Pilot X, good book. Love this, was so much fun. And he's actually currently working on a sequel, which the way he wrote this, I didn't think there would be a sequel, but Pilot X, very fun. And the author Tom Merritt, who does the podcast. I only own 2 of the Wheel of Time books. I still have this one because my wife still hasn't read it. That's the only reason it's still around. And I own this one, Towers of Midnight, although I don't have the cover for it anymore. And the reason why is because a good friend of mine got it autographed by Brandon Sanderson to me, so that's why I still have it. I also have a lot of the Inkshares books, all sitting right over there. Pilot X is one of the Inkshares books, although yeah, it is an Inkshare. I wasn't sure if it was in his Sword and Laser on Inkshare. Yeah, that Pilot X, so much fun. I listened to the audio version of that, but I love the cover too. It's just they did a good job with that. But it is pure fun. I've been listening to it all the time. I try. Yeah, when it was announced that Brandon Sanderson was getting ready to finish the series, I made a point of getting all of the Wheel of Time book converted, because I borrowed them from people, converted them into digital, and put them on my iPod. No, I did have the iPod already. Put them on my iPod, and so while I trained for a couple of marathons, I listened and made it through all 11 books, training for a couple of marathons. I still remember when I listen to some of them now. I'm not reading them again, but my co-host on Tuesday, Thursdays, he is listening to them again, or trying to finish them, and so when I hear different parts, I can still see all the places I was running when I was listening to it. Okay, so looks so much better. Alright, so now zoom out. So we now have, so this highway goes this way, connects there, and it has a split off going this way, but I need to actually make the connection right here. So traffic coming from this direction can split off and come up this way. This one goes over here and then splits and goes that way too. And then I made this highway connection right here too. And then inside of that, I built this main 6-lane highway that goes all the way around. And now I'm going to start building some downtown. Like, obviously because you got the harbor over here, you want to have some industry down here. And so I was thinking about making this whole stretch right here the main part of the city. So we'll see. There's also this section up here. So I'm going to I'll do a little more planning on my own. I think I'm going to be putting this game into my weekly rotation, so one day a week. I don't know if it's going to be Mondays because the Pixel Sharks, my Extra Life team, is planning on doing a new hot potato run, and I think Mondays is going to be my day. So, but maybe Wednesdays. So you're listening to Wheel of Time. I read that. Another series that I read, but I don't. There's 3 authors that I kind of have a love-hate relationships with outside of Brandon Sanderson. There's Robert Jordan, Wheel of Time, George R. R. Martin, The Song of Ice and Fire, and Terry Goodkind, Sword of Truth. And Eximia, I love David Eddings. I love his style. It's a very different type of fantasy story. It's not My co-host can't stand it because he likes non-traditional stories of good and evil, meaning no one really is good, no one is really evil. And everyone is bad in some way, shape, or form. So no heroes, no villains, just everyone plays a role in the story at different times based on what's going on. In David Eddings, you don't get that. In David Eddings, you have a hero and you have a villain and you have all the supporting cast. And the Belgariad and the Melorian, Belgarath, Polgara, and the Raven Codex, loved them beginning to end. I also liked the Redemption of Alpha. That book by itself, it's a standalone book, top 5 for me. Sword of Truth, here's an example. Sword of Truth, you are dead on the nose. It's so tapered off. Honestly, it's because I think the publisher was making him drag it out. That said, Faith of the Fallen, top 5 book for me. I love Faith of the Fallen. You could read Faith of the Fallen and get the entire experience, the debate that is Sword of Truth in that one book, and not have to read the rest of the series. And I know because I had a friend do that, and he liked it so much that he then went back and read the whole thing, and he came back later and said, yeah, Faith of the Fallen was pretty much the apex of the series. Now that said, I did love what Terry Goodkind did in Chainfire. That opening to Chainfire, what he pulled, and with the stunt that he pulled, basically saying, guess what, guys? This story is ending, and oh, by the way, I'm going to just yank on this tapestry that we've been building and just rip it to pieces. I liked that twist. And the sequence where in the final book, when Richard was going after a certain someone, one of the best written battle sequences. The problem was the rest of that book was mostly preaching. Go back and look at book 11, I think it is, the last book, Sword of Truth. Mostly preaching about determinism, because he's a huge Ayn Rand fan. And that's what the series kind of devolved into. So it had some really great points. But the other thing is, all the stories were essentially the same story. They were just carbon copies of each other. It didn't matter. I mean, the only difference is you had a slightly bit more information, but if you looked at the formula, they were all essentially the same formula. Faith of the Fallen was the most different of those, which is why I like so much. Even then, it kind of felt his continuation of it. The oh my word, I could not believe how awful that was. I couldn't finish reading that trilogy. Now I haven't read The First Confessor. I do own it. I've been told that he kind of got back on the saddle for that one. You are not wrong there. I really liked some of the female characters. Colin was a great character, but the problem for me with Colin was how everything still seemed to revolve around Richard with her. Faith of the Fallen kind of broke that for me, which is why I like it so much. But in the end, it kind of, like, everything that she did was still so dependent on Richard in all the stories. Faith of the Fallen, she kind of went out on her own, and Nietzsche just loved that character. I really liked the way he developed her. Still kind of had a little bit of that, all these beautiful women, like with Rand, all these beautiful women just can't help but be associated and around the same character. And all that nonsense. So a little bit of fantasy there, I guess. I also liked Dina, but I have personal history with some of the things that she went through that I just don't. I kind of find a little bit. I liked the character. I didn't necessarily like how that storyline went. What she was doing to him. That's a personal thing. Character-wise, though, Dina was a really great character. I really enjoyed that character. I'll say something. For me, I guess I could explain it this way. If you've seen, what is that show? On right now, it's kind of like it's like Star Trek used to be. The Orville. There was an episode in season 1 which basically turned me off to the show. I've since been able to catch a couple bits of it, and I may go back and finish and continue it. But I finished season 1, but I didn't touch season 2 yet. But there was an episode in season 1 where they essentially made light of people not being able to say no to someone because of his. Nick Zomia, all you missed was me saying, in summary, like Denna, did not like the storyline, specifically what she was doing, and I love Nietzsche. But that whole thing with Nietzsche being another beautiful woman, completely entranced in following a male. So, and where you came back, I was talking about an example of why I didn't like what they did with Richard and the Nietzsche storyline. There was an episode in season 1 of Orville where they made fun of people not being able to say no and essentially being assaulted because they couldn't say no. Like they had the inability to say no. They were basically, everybody was being roofied and was unable to say, and they made light of it. So that's for me with the whole Denna storyline. That was my primary issue with that. Loved the character. I think Nietzsche was a much better character than Colin. I think Colin was just, he had in his mind a role for her, and that's what he wanted to be. And so I think Nietzsche kind of filled some of that, the other part, and I think she ended up getting. Honestly, I thought her story ended up being better. Yeah, Colin. That's the name. It'll be there. I do want to read, because he started writing a series. He published a series. It's about Nietzsche. I do want to read that. I did enjoy the Nietzsche story. And I did enjoy his the debate that he was having in the story about prophecy and how Richard was constantly at odds with it. I did enjoy that because it was, I don't like as much as I like the storylines about, heroes and villains and all that stuff, I don't like stories that are basically married to this idea that there's only one person chosen by destiny. It's the Zelda thing. You're the chosen hero of time. As much as I enjoy those games, I really dislike that. So in my stories, I try to say, it's this story, this person made the choice. And there's actually a point in my story where someone looks at one of the main characters and says, where did you get the nerve to do what you did, and and look at all the things that happened as a result of that? And the person response is, anybody could have done what we did, and anybody would have done what we did. You know the whole story now. The difference is we're the ones that chose to do it. So, and that's something I go for, and I did. So in that sense, I did very much enjoy his constant arguing with having Richard arguing with and fighting against prophecy, and that that him being the chosen one of prophecy. So it kind of worked for me with David Eddings. Hey, Killer of Oz. Kind of worked for me with David Eddings, although a lot of that might be through rose-colored glasses looking back now. See, the thing is, with David Eddings' books, you know what you're getting. That's a very specific type. It's romantic literature, not as in what we currently think of romantic literature, but romance, the stuff that started with Romance era stuff. It's the stuff that started with Beowulf and ended with Don Quixote. That era. That's where we get all of our Arthurian legend stuff from, Merlin and all that. Those kind of fantastical stories. And David Eddings was a professor of that type of literature. So he very much understood what he was doing when he wrote it. And if you read the Raven Codex, it's actually, the opening of it is a letter. It's a letter to other writers who are thinking about writing in that, and he gives them a how-to. Hey, if you're going to do this, you need to. These are the things you need to consider, and he talks about a lot of that. So the Ravenclaw, and it also has some other like notes and things, primer to it. But the thing about David Eddings is he's famously quoted as saying, "If you give me 3 pages, I'll have you hooked." And if you go back, if you hand someone the first book of the Belgariad and have them read the opening 3 pages, that world building is top notch. He does have you hooked. Yeah, they were there, but they were like you said, he just kind of touched on them in some ways, kind of like the way Wheel of Time was. Wheel of Time, the things were there, but you didn't have any of that over dominating violence towards one gender like you get in George R.R. Martin or Sword of Truth, and nor did you get all the descriptive. I write mostly science fiction. I do have a hard science fiction murder mystery that I've been working on. That because of my what happened to me in 2016 and what forced me to leave the military, I kind of had to shelve that. Yep, exactly. It's you can hand them off the first book of the Belgariad, and it just gets them hooked. But Killer of Oz, there. This is my book. It's science fiction, but it's got dragons in it, and all of that will make sense later in the story. But it's a futuristic world. It's technology and things like that. So, but I like to write stories that with. I'm gonna hand you a story that's a science fiction story. It's got dragons in it, but it's a story about trauma and how do you live after something traumatic has happened to you. Or a story that's about starting over. Like sometimes something that looks like it's bad is really just an opportunity for you to start over. The story that I'm currently working on for the video game project is the theme of the story is sometimes the answer is you have to start over. Well, Killer of Oz, when you do write, what do you write? And here, just so you have it, I shared it earlier, but actually I should be able to do it like this because I turned the cloud bot on. Yep, you can find out more about that link, my book there. And the sequel, which I am currently editing, and I have a plan, I have a goal, and I want to, fingers crossed, get it done by next week. It may mean 2 weeks of shorter streams after today, keeping myself down to an hour, but we'll see. But when you did write, what were you writing, Killer of Oz? And Exumia, outside of David Eddings and George R.R. Martin, who else have you read? What do you like to read? Well, that's fine. You don't have to publish. When I was in Ramstein last year, I was taking part in a writers group where most of the people there had no intention of ever publishing. They just liked to write. Well, thank you, Elle. Elle, I can't remember. Did you read it or did you listen to the Audible? I loved the Audible production. I had nothing to do with it. So, I mean, I enjoy my book. I wrote it. I think it has. I know ways that it can be better, and I've been trying to use some of that as I go through and edit Rise or edit Fall. But like the production of the audiobook, I had no say in what they did, and I thought they did an excellent job. I thought the guy that did the reading did an absolutely fantastic job. I've checked on Audible a couple of times, and I think there are some other people who disagree with me in that, but each his own. For me, one of the characters in the book, he absolutely nailed the voice for it. You have a degree in writing poetry and have thus far failed to put it to use. Well, I'm not sure what outside of, I mean, have you written your own poetry, Jane? I actually did not know that you had a degree in poetry. I feel like I barely know you. And you're the only person in the chat who I've met in real life. And so Jane is actually a member of the Pixel Sharks, who I think is this. I'll do it. Yeah, Pixel Sharks is our Extra Life team, and she'll be taking part in our own hot potato challenge that we'll be doing starting maybe next week. We're working out some of the details now, the final details. I used to through high school, college, stopped after college. Well, maybe you should pick it up again. Exumia, mostly just fantasy, R.A. Salvadori, Brandon Sanderson, David Eddings, Martin, Tolkien, good guy, and others. I'll have to look at my bookcase to see other names, but it all started with Harry Potter and the Chronicles of Narnia. Exumia, when I was growing up, the book series that I read the most was the Chronicles of Narnia. I read it so many times. In fact, the only thing that got me off of reading the Chronicles of Narnia was when Timothy Zahn, who I have met, I actually have a signed book, him down there, and he has a copy of my book. He published the first books in the Star Wars thing, and that got me started on that. They aired the Empire trilogy, and that was what broke me away from reading the Chronicles of Narnia. Thank you, Killer of Oz. If you are looking, there's actually a sample. I think it's. Let me check. I have a browser open. You indeed have a browser open. If you would like. And Audible. Yeah. There you go. I will.
Chapter 1. Paper. I suppose this all started with paper. Real paper. I could not recall the last time I had seen a fresh batch of it. That close to the core, one rarely found supplies of this sort. They were hard to come by even for researchers like me. Only the bare necessities for those sworn to protect. How many times had I had those words thrown in my face? Still, someone must have seen my request. How else had this package of crisp white paper been delivered? The first thing I did was pull a piece free, hold it close to my nose, and inhale slowly. If I closed my eyes, the faint odor made me believe I was pressing my face close to a real tree standing before me, a soft breeze shifting my long hair around as it moved past. Well, I pictured what I thought was a tree. It was a pleasant dream.
That's the opening paragraph. Okay, you, Weiss and Hickman. For me, if you want to talk about world building that's better than even what Tolkien did, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman's Death Gate cycle, for me, far and away, one of the best, and just straight up, just series. Love their Death Gate cycle. Why do you you need a bridge like that to go over that just seems a little much. I've never been able to get into Terry Brooks. I don't know why. For me, it's just never really been something I've been able to enjoy. I'm not really sure what it is. I also really enjoyed, I don't know if you've read it, Exumia, the Rose of the Prophet series. That one, for me, and their Sovereign Stone trilogy, I've really enjoyed those. Tracy Hickman has done some work that he did as a part with what do you call it? He kind of wrote it serially. He did a serial fiction thing, and and basically readers subscribed and funded that book as he wrote it. Are you who are you talking to, Exumi, when you say I don't know? What's it about? We don't want to go underground. We want to go across. Oh, the Rose of the Prophet series. It's Arabic fantasy. So it's kind of they kind of did a little. It's a little different from their normal thing. So if you're familiar with any of the historically the like a night in 1,000 nights, 1,001 nights is out in English, or all the Alibaba and the Prince of the 40 Thieves, stuff like that. They did their own version of that. Why is this acting like that? A different kind of road? Shouldn't be. It should be the same. So, and I personally, I like the one that the version that I read was called. I mean, was like an omnibus version, and it had an intro from Tracy Hickman in it, where he talked about the development of the book series, and he was writing a section that he was tasked with writing, and he realized that they were writing themselves into a corner, and so he called Margaret and said, "We have a problem, and that problem is our hero is about to, one of our main characters is about to be written into this part of the story where there's no reason to keep him alive. So what do we do?" And so she said, "Well, just give him this item." Like, "Well, what will this item do?" And like, we'll figure it out later. We'll worry about that later. Just give him the item and we'll figure it out later. And that thing became a huge part of the series. And so he was saying, when you're writing, don't just assume that something is a MacGuffin. Don't just assume that something is just this thing that's supposed to form the specific function in your story, because something like that could become important in your story later on. And I can tell you that when I was editing Rise, I had 2 beta readers who were really formative, and their help was so formative in what happened to the story. The character of Logwyn, her entire story was not in the story. She was just a vehicle to get the story to you guys. And one of the beta readers, she kept getting frustrated with the questions that this character wasn't asking, and so she kept saying, I want more, give me more," and started writing in her edits what questions she felt she should be asking. And so when I went back through and edited Rise for the final time, all of the places where you see Logwyn interrupting her in the story to ask questions, those were actual questions from a reader. And as I was doing that, the whole story that is Logwyn's story came out. So it was very much like that, realizing, hey, there's something here. There's a very important story in this that I was missing, that I wouldn't have found if it hadn't been for that beta reader. Beta readers. Very important. I don't know why that was hard to say. So let's see. I'm going to catch up on here. The Rats. I'm not sure what that is. Can't remember the guy's name. Killer of Oz. Oh, you'll have to come back with the name of that. R.A. Salvadori, Nixamia, by the way, to go back a little bit, I've never really enjoyed his individual work. I know he's done some work in the Dragon Realms universe. I really, really, really enjoyed his parts in the New Jedi Order trilogy, or not trilogy, series. It was like 17, 18 books, maybe it was more than that, from back in the early 2000s, the early aughts. Now the Legacy universe. I thoroughly enjoyed what he did as a part of that. It was so much fun. He started it. Like, he was the one that, like, his book was the opening book in the series, and then when he came back later, he did some of the more, I wouldn't say controversial, but in some ways it was also some of the best, I think, well written stuff. Oh, what do we have here? Is this a cliff? Probably don't want to come off of this. Let's go back. So, but when I tried to read his other stuff, it just didn't do it for me. But I mean, that's just me. Stop it. There. The storyline, the Drizzt, was the only thing of his that I enjoyed, but I never bought the books for myself. I only borrowed my older brother's books. Oh, Salvatore? Hey, however you can get them, right? If that's what does it. If that's how you can get your hands on, is to borrow them. At this point, I do a lot of free checkouts from the library, digitally, things like that. And then, see, what I do is I read them, and then if I like them, then I'll go get a good version of them. That's how I do books now. So the ones that I have are ones that matter. So I have all these Ink Shares books. I helped bring them about. So in the back, when they talk about people who supported the book and brought it into fruition, my name's back there. So I have all those, and most of them I've got signed. So they have to have some kind of sentimental value. We used to have a massive library, and then we decided to purge it and switch over to digital. Because I mean, I can hold so many books right there, and if I do the Audible and Kindle, then I can go back and forth between reading them and listening to them, and it updates. This I have a feeling I'm going to turn into a nice little residential area. We have some industry over here. I'm eventually going to get to the point where I start planning zones. We'll see. So, what is everybody currently reading? Oh, James, Killer of Oz. James, is it Abear? Is he the one that wrote the Rats book? Nixumi, I'm still in the process of buying good copies in the Bulgarian and Mandalorian. I feel like out of all the hard copies I have, those are the most important. I do have a hard copy of Redemption of Alphalus. That is definitely, when I saw it on the shelf, I'm getting that. Definitely saving that. And I'd like to be able to, I finally cleared out underneath my desk, and so I'm thinking in our next apartment, I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bookshelves under there for my books. So I just got that right there. So I prevent myself from filling up underneath it, because I like having nothing under it. Like my CPU is now right there. So like camera is the standing desk with my main game TV right there, and my two monitors going portrait style right here. And then behind those two, you. When I get to the next apartment, actually he's gonna. They're all, and this one a bit lower, so they're all even. He's the guy that wrote that series. He did them back in the 80s, I think. Really good thriller style books. I have heard that name. Not horror, not thriller. I've heard that name. I don't think I've read much of his. I haven't read much horror. I said earlier in the stream. I'm not a big fan of the genre. When I finally buy a house of my own, I plan on having an office of my own just for books and streaming. Nice. Yeah, you can't see it, but I'm in our living room right here. So behind that green screen right there is our living. I'm actually in what should be the dining area of we never used it that week for other things. Desks and things like that. Initially, when we first moved here, my computer standing desk was in our closet. But I moved out here because I was tired of hiding. Yes, I know how much fun that is. I know how fun that is. How funny that sounds. Okay, so definitely thinking this is going to be like residential park things up here. This thing has this posh feel to it. So put the industry down over here, but more along this side. So probably want to put a road this one. going this direction. When I built my PC, I built it. It will be in my son's game room until we move. When I get my PC built. Ooh, what are you building? Like what? Can you share some specs? Oh, no. And closer and see how this. Or until my husband's friend moves out of our basement. Yeah, someday we may live in a house again. We got burned by our experience in Georgia with the crash and everything, and so we may rent again. We may rent before we. Being able to rent a house, nice, but going to be dependent upon a couple of things. Namely, one thing will be helpful is the success of this video game project, which I'll be excited to be able to talk about when I'm allowed. It was one of those things where when I first was approached about doing it, I didn't know what story I wanted to give them. And then it just kind of jumped out at me. This story, I'm never going to get to write this story otherwise, so I very much enjoy it. And then it turned out to be a really good story once I started plotting it out and everything. That's what I spent last week doing. If you whisper it to me, I mean, you don't have to give me like the dead-on specs. I was just curious if there was anything special you were going for. Like I was happy to finally get a GTX 1080 for this computer, and I have solid-state drives for the operating system and for my Steam library. Eventually, I'm probably gonna, upgrade the processor, but I need more of a steady income. Things like that. Who's the game publisher you're doing the project for? It's a small publisher. I don't think they've actually released their first. Like, they've got their demo out, and I met them through somebody I met at DragonCon. So, and it's going to be a mobile. The nice thing is that if it does well, it's written into the thing that they'll come back for more. Not from this story. This story I'm writing to an end. So. Cool. I like building PCs. Actually, it's real. I'm actually gonna move this over a little. I would do it for fun, but I would also do it if people would, pay me to do it. But I like doing it. I like building them. I don't like programming. That's not the thing. I like the hardware side of it and making it all function once it's there. So making it so like my parents have a media computer that they're using to when where they were before, they needed it to actually record TV because they didn't have any way to do it. So now they're using it to run a Plex server off of, which I've helped them build. So of course that original one that I built them is actually no longer in existence because it got destroyed by the post office. Somebody in Okinawa had to help them rebuild it. Loop back around because of the. Actually, I need to. Since we're coming off of a hill anyway, we might as well just keep it elevated. There we go. Jane, when are you finally going to get your new PC? Okay, so the world for Rise is very interesting. I actually ripped that world apart, literally in the story, and started over. Now, I was attending a writers group that was being put on by a published author in the Augusta area, and they didn't like the world as much. It didn't feel like it was as much of a character for them, and so I went back and just said, okay, fine, we'll just rip the world apart. And so that's what I did. I went back and I just ripped the world apart. And it was something that was supposed to happen later in the story, and I just decided, let's just change, let's just alter where we're telling the story from the beginning, and then just put it in the story later. So that was what happened. Oh no, wait a minute, no, sorry, I'm backward. The bad thing that had happened to the world had already happened, and so the story wasn't taking entirely after it. But what they didn't get was they didn't understand any of that, and so I altered what it was that happened to the world. Like I ripped it apart. And so I had the setting, and then I kind of started working in the story some of the concepts. And that opening of trying to figure out a way to get you buy-in on the story, that took me years to get right. When I finally got it right, when I finally got the opening that we have there, the people that had been beta reading it and reading it when it was on Pop, they all said, if you touch that opening, we will kill you. I'd have to ask Magnus. I want to get it soon, but we have other financial obligations first. Real furniture. Isn't adulting just fun? So adulting is just so much fun. Just so unloaded. The advantage that I had in Eximia is I had the characters. I knew who the characters were. Now, some of the characters have changed a little bit over time, based in part because of what I put them through. So I made things happen to them that weren't initially like in the original version, but the original version was garbage. I still have the original version. Let's be honest. The original version of my story was absolute garbage. So I keep it around. I keep it around because I like to remind myself what it was. But yeah, it was garbage. Stop it. Dialogue is it's tricky. Hold on, let me tell my wife something. Enchilada. Dialogue can be extremely awkward. It's one of the hardest things to write, but it is where your story is made or it's where you make your story or break your story. Now, so I've said before on this stream, I've said I have issues with George R.R. Martin's writing. Where I don't have an issue with his writing is in his dialogue. He is phenomenal at dialogue. So if you want to see dialogue done right, just open his book to any page where you see dialogue happening and just read it and watch the pacing, pay attention to how people say things. But another thing that I would say to help your dialogue is don't be afraid to just use the dialogue tag said. Don't get too fancy with it. You can add some things to it. I like to add little touches of because when you talk to someone, you can see them doing things like this, like tapping the side of their face, or they raise their eyebrows like that, or they turn their head, or they kind of shudder like that. Those little ticks that you don't necessarily see when you're reading. I like to add some of those things. I also don't like adverbs. So when you're doing your dialogue, stay away from adverbs because we don't think in adverbial terms. We don't really speak in adverbial terms. So if you wrote, he said angrily, well, what does saying something angrily look like? Figure that out and then put that down. But don't write 20 words to do it. Figure out a way to do it in like 2 or 3 words. My wife refused to read my work for a decade because it was so bad. Now she's one of my top advocates when it comes to my work. But she refused to read my stuff for a decade because it was bad. And it was characters. It was characters, and honestly, it was the dialogue. She liked the setting that I made. She did enjoy the setting, but she just you know what? But the characters just weren't. There was no reason. She didn't have any reason to buy into the characters, and the dialogue just didn't matter to her. So I had to get better at that. And honestly, I actually spent time in a class with Tracy Hickman. I think I should actually delete this section. Is it up? I spent a year with Tracy Hickman fine-tuning my manuscript. But one thing you can do is write your dialogue without anything else. Okay, so, and then once you've written it, read it out loud. Try to say it. And then as you're saying it, imagine how you would react, how you would act physically when you say it. So it's like you contemplate out. I guarantee if someone had a camera pointed at me when I was writing Rise, they would have laughed their heads off, because every time I was writing dialogue, I would stop and I would actually imitate what I was describing them doing to see if it made sense with what they were saying. I've written chunks of the books and handed them out to people and friends, but they're all too nice to truly critique it. Yeah, you need someone who's going to tell you it's poo when it's poo, and is going to tell you good. How can you change what you're changing? How can you improve on it? Not just they just want you to do well, so they don't want to say anything to hurt your feelings. So Killer of Oz, I gave my mom a copy for 5 chapters. She looks sore and throat. Even he thought it was a bit chilling. That's good. That's good. Give it to someone who's not in love with you. Give it to someone who you know is going to just point blank look at you and say, "Dude, this is garbage, and you need to work on this." If you want to get better, you have to give it to somebody who's gonna look at you and say, "This is what's good," but if you don't have that person in your life, then you need to find that person. Actually, the story Rise, the character of one of the characters, one of his functions in the story is to be the no person for one of the characters. He has other functions too, but his initial role in the story is, no, you can't do that because. And it's not nice. It's not fun to read. And is that one of? Hold on, I just actually checked. Oh yeah, it is one of 2D Curious things. Sorry, you posted that a little bit ago, but I just realized who that was. It's not fun to hear that, but it is so helpful to have someone who's going to tell you, look, you can't do that, and here's why. And so for me, getting my wife to read my books again, that was a huge accomplishment for me. And she actually will cosplay one of the characters. Yes, we do, and they're the right kind. My wife's at this. She went to the thrift store today, and so she's out or getting detergent stuff. So, but yeah, getting her to read my books again was a huge accomplishment for me, because she's my #1 critic, and now she's my #1 fan. And I knew she would support me, but she won't. Hey, so Jane, you were talking about writing poetry earlier. My wife will not write poetry because she doesn't want to inflict herself on it. She doesn't want to. She's extremely hypercritical of her work in that area. So she won't do it. Why the heck is this elevated? So she won't just write it because she doesn't think that she has the skill to write it and write it well. So when it came to what I was doing, it was kind of the same thing. It's like, look, I'm not gonna look. You got an idea here, but I'm not gonna waste my time reading this because you're not there yet, and I don't want to. And I wouldn't listen. That's the other thing. If you're gonna ask for people to critique your work, you need to be willing to listen, because otherwise they won't tell you. It's not gonna happen. You should I'll read it for her and give her feedback. At this point, Jane, I don't think she has the desire to. She has other things that she works on. I'm referencing, she actually wrote a poem in college because for one of her classes that was saying that. And how give you an idea of how effective that was. I still remember that poem. I remember most of the poetry she wrote. Like one of the ones that was the most haunting was the one about the spider, the spider that went to all the trouble to build this beautiful spider web inside a glass. Was like a light. It was a beautiful spider web. It was one of the most amazing spider webs I've ever seen, and nothing was ever going to disturb it because it was inside a glass case and hanging right next to the spider. Right next to the spider web was the spider, dead. It had done such a good job of keeping that thing from being, damaged, that it died because it was insulated and couldn't get, it wasn't going to catch any food in there. It missed the point. So, and I love that. I love that poem. So, I was talking because it was in college when you're still trying to figure things out. Okay, so Killer Vase. I opened up an old flash drive earlier and I found an old note with book ideas I'd forgotten. Definitely something worth chasing. It's always fun to see some of your old ideas and see if you've got if there's anything that you can make of them. I have several of those things around of like, hey, this is my idea box. Why won't you connect? Why won't you connect? Most of them I've actually been able to do a little bit of work on. So the one that I really want to finish someday is the one that I'm working on with my wife. It's actually on Inkshares also. It's just I wasn't as ready as I thought to write that one, but it's the one that Michelle my wife is convinced is going to get banned if we publish it. There will be people who argue for it to be banned because of the topics it deals with. Which is, it's always fun to be that kind of to be the author that gets something banned. Yeah, that one is called Afterman, and I remember when she gave me the idea for it. She said, like, I'm about to go to bed, or she's about to go to bed, and I'm staying up all night, and she just gives me this idea and then goes to bed. Examine it was cool hanging out. I should have done it sooner, but entering lurk mode now. I'll see you later. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Well, I'll see you, and if not here, I'll see you on someone else's stream. I am sure. And thanks for I appreciate it, and I appreciate talking with someone who's read some of the same things I've read. So that's not a bad thing, Killer Vase. You are right, it isn't, because it means you're asking questions that in some cases people don't want answered, and it would definitely ask that question. It deals with some interesting genetic questions, based and it's based in part on some science that's actually been done. And it's funny because everyone who's kind of been introduced to it, of all the people who kind of been introduced to it, the people who I thought would be the most against it have actually been the ones finding stories in the news and sending it to me going, hey, did you notice this kind of thing? No, my mom, of course, she thinks that I probably shouldn't write it, but she did the mom thing. She supported it very much so. Bought several copies, then the pre-reader thing, and then after she did that, then came back and said, "Yeah, you sure you want to write this? Because it sounds like you're going to be dealing with some stuff." So I thanked her kindly for her input, smiled and nodded, and went on my way. Oh, so looks like that a portion of the main thoroughfare is done. Gotta decide what's going to happen here. Down here could be some industry, but we could turn this into like some high-rise office area with residential up here. That's cool. Put the industry on this side. Farther down. Got a lot of options down here. Industry. I didn't really have a plan when I started this one. I just wanted to build roads and see what I could and have fun with it. And, you know, be able to push play and let's let the traffic figure itself out. Oh, what's happening here? Why is this red? Because it's a nice idea, but you have to slow down to do this. So, Killer of Us, you gonna start writing again? You talked about it, and clearly it seems like there's some interest in it, but are you actually gonna do it? This right here, I'm not sure if I should continue this one down this way because it narrows off right here. Maybe I go here and then have it cross over. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Even if it's just for yourself, you gonna continue writing? You going to push yourself to get creativity going again? I understand. Trust me, I understand. I've had this issue for several years now. I've had this issue for several years now of when I sit down to be creative, it's a struggle for me. And I'm not really sure how to get around it, what to do about it. Contemplating the need to put like a highway all the way down around this so we can have access to that. I think I will. I don't want to force it. No, you don't want to force it. But you can start with something simple, like 100 words a day. And even if it's garbage and you throw it out, it's 100 words that you wrote. That's what I actually have. I have ask for prize. Nope. Oh, definitely did. So on I have this Streaks app to help me keep things going. You can see. So it's the Streaks app, and it allows me to, you know, keep myself motivated day to day doing things. And the top one right here, that one right there is write 100 words. So on some kind of, and then I also separately have a Be Creative. For me, doing what I'm doing here, making this content, builds that Be Creative thing. But it's also in part supposed to push me towards being, you know, functional, like writing again. Now, instead of visiting, do I have one here? Look, I have, yes, hospital. I got it. Thank you very much. I really like this, but I just don't know if that's here. For a highway interchange, I don't know if that. Probably been nearly 2 to 3 years since I've written anything. We had 2 meals. It's been, I mainly get my inspiration from dreams, nightmares. Hey, you know, say what you will about your dreams. I had an inspirational moment. Now, I usually don't like remembering my dreams. The dreams I have usually end up in night terrors. That's just my reality now. So I have to be very careful about what, you know, how much I remember. To rip up a little bit more. But the other night, I did manage to have let's put this up. I can put this underground here in a second. I did manage to have a dream that helped me drastically change what was going on in my story in good ways. very helpful. So don't knock the dreams. They can be very beneficial. Ugly for right now, but that's fine. Just need them to connect. And at one point, in the past, I've actually dreamed significant portions of the story that is Rise. Significant portions of it. So, dreams are good. This is gonna have to change here though. Let me see, can I upgrade? I know if I move out, I can do more in terms of upgrading the road. I mainly get my okay, sorry, that's the same one. So, but yeah, one of the changes I made to the story world development. So we're talking background, came straight out of a dream the other night, and I had to get up right away and work to remember it all because I didn't want to forget it. The biggest we got. So, nice man. I find my dreams very helpful, but I don't remember them often. The book is mainly from the same I've had since I was about 12-ish. I started working on the story that is Rise when I was 15. So I get it. Okay, so. And then this we will downgrade. That's right, I gotta move this. My upgrade. Come on, you can do it. I know you can do it. We've done this before. Over a little. Yeah. He's really being a butt. Here, do it like that. Maybe now you'll let me do it. There. There. Okay, so move this back. It. There. There's some parts of the book that stuck out down, but even though it's been years since I've had those dreams, I still remember them. There are some dreams that I've like they kind of come back to me in bits and pieces. So it's kind of weird how that happens. These like flashes of a dream that I had a long time ago will come back to me. But yeah, I do very much remember dreaming significant portions of the story that is Rise long before I wrote it. And then as I was making the changes to it more recently, I can definitely see the influence of those dreams. Okay, so now, before I forget it, this plane control. Oh, none of this nonsense. We will go here. Anyway, dude, gotta go. Wife calling. Good talking to you. Hey, it was great. Great talking to you. Great. Thanks for keeping me company and keep me on longer. I probably would have gotten off a while ago. But hey, I enjoy it. I'll see you next time or in someone else's. I'm sure I'll see you in somebody's stream. Because I work from home. I get to do that a lot. So have a good time. Tell the wife thank you for letting us have you for so long. And we'll catch you next time. Is this? And hopefully, hey, if you pick up my book, I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed writing it. But more importantly, I hope that it's helpful and for you or for someone who's close to you. Okay, but anyway, they'll at least go to the right place. Don't worry about that. Okay. So. Wait, 4 lanes there. I don't care. I don't really care about the whole lane issue here. You guys can go there, there. You can go there, or there. Now the question is, do I want to let them go? Actually, what I think I'll do instead is have them just go there. And then there. Also give them the option. I have a feeling that's going to cause problems if I do that. So. Yeah, I think I shouldn't do that. I think that's going to cause problems. So we'll just leave it like that to prevent them from having too much traffic jam right there. I just sent a message to my daughter. I'm a little distracted. Like, hey, you. Okay. Oh, that looks nice. Okay. Now let's come over here and fix this one. This one is an absolute mess. So, how did I do that? I had 4 lanes coming out. I need to upgrade this road. Okay, so upgrade that. So, now this gets downgraded to 2 lanes. This is where we have all the... Ah! What happened? Right. Team, get out of the way. Turn it sideways so we can accomplish this. Stop it. Oh, it's because of these other assets underneath it. I can't, it's not like I can actually destroy that, so I have to figure out some way to get them separated from it so that I can upgrade them. These should not... Oh, I'm already upgraded. So that one's right. This one's the stupid... There. There we go. Now, clear them back. So, much chance to merge as possible. Okay, now. Why are you saying you're not connected? Yeah. as I can. And get out of the way. Will it let me upgrade that? What is that? Oh, see? That should be fine. Yeah. To intersection. Here. Go here, here, and you go there. Just like that. Just like that. Mm-hmm. Go here. We'll allow this one to go. You can do it. There. There. It has to be done in order to make this work. And then come on. Force them into making sure that they're where they want to be long before they get there. Hello, Zoe. Said hello. How are you? How's your friend? Not sure why this thing's convinced this is a straightaway turn, but there we go. Well, you can make it so you don't have them in the future. Okay, well, I'm about to get off of this, so it went longer because I had people talking to me. Alright, so let's see here. Bring this back out just a little. Ooh, not that far. There we go. Okay. So added it, and then we'll just continue this highway on around here. Connect over here. I'll do another one of those triangles right there. We shall see. I'll see. Oh. So, I think that's where I'm going to call it for today. I have some things I need to do. Some writing and some cleaning. Hey, I appreciate everybody hanging out. Me. Green puppy. Green puppy. Green puppy crashed. Oops. Scenes here. So, thanks everybody for hanging out, for all the good discussion on books. Hopefully you, those of you who are looking, hanging around, got some good book suggestions. So I'm going to see who's on host. Oh, I know who. I don't often get to host this person. So I don't know if it's working. Let's try. Hey, there we go. So on the cloud, but fix that. But it's back to its broken thing. He's playing RimWorld. And it's his crash landing start. So with only his 3 survive. So I'm going to cast a host for him as soon as I wrap this up. I will be back tomorrow with some multiplayer, probably endless space too. To talk to Jealous Mike about that. We'll see. So, you guys have yourselves a good day. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being such good, talkative chat today. Appreciated it. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.